One of the main methods stated in the Vedas and other divine Hindu texts for purifying one's consciousness is to refrain from harming sentient beings and to abstain from meat eating. It is written, for example,
"He who desires to attain supreme peace should on no account eat the flesh of any animal in the world." Mahabharata Anusasanika Parva. Meat can never be obtained without injury to living creatures, and injury to sentient beings is detrimental to the attainment of heavenly bliss. Let him therefore shun the use of meat. Having well considered the disgusting origin of flesh, and the cruelty of fettering and slaying corporeal beings, let him entirely abstain from eating flesh. Manu Samhita. He who permits the slaughter of an animal, he who cuts it up, he who kills it, he who buys or sells meat, he who cooks it, he who serves it up, and he who eats it, must all be considered as the slayers of the animal. There is no greater sinner than that man who seeks to increase the bulk of his own flesh by the flesh of other beings. Manu Samhita.
Vegetarianism helps you raise your consciousness. In other words, if you eat refined foods, vegetarian foods, vegetables, grains, rice, dals, things like that, it helps your consciousness become more and more refined rather than having to go through the process of digesting and eating meat, which has been basically saturated with the fear and pain that the other living entities go through when they're killed or when they know they're going to get slaughtered and all this. It actually reduces the consciousness. It reduces your spiritual perception, quite honestly. I can say that from personal experience. And after actually being vegetarian is what helped me become more and more spiritual, not simply in sadhana or practice alone, but in the actual perception of what is spiritual and what is not. The more spiritual you become, the more you can actually see that which is spiritual. And that experience, that direct perception, is what separates, you might say, the students from the masters.